Hi, my name is Jen. This is part of my workplace work wellness series. Kind of a tongue twister. This is great for anyone that's at an office working all day and you need some movement throughout the day or at the end of the day with a little bit of more introspective practice and some myofascial release to let go of all that tension and tightness that you may have accumulated throughout the day or the work week. I am going to have a blanket with me. I have a strap, that's just for bringing your arms behind your back, so if you need a little assistance with that, I have 2 myofascial balls. Tennis balls work great or any other balls that you have around for myofascial work. And I've got 2 blocks. If you don't have the blocks, you could use water bottles or anything to help lift that your hands can touch when you're in lunges. So, let's go ahead and start seated. Put this aside. I'm going to sit right here on the edge of my blanket. And that just really helps to lift and neutralize my pelvis so that I'm not dumping into my low back. If you have a wall close by, you could sit up against a wall as well. And then, of course, if you're at work, maybe you're doing this in a chair or your work home. So go ahead and rest your hands wherever it feels good. Close your eyes just for a moment or soften your gaze, maybe peeking through your eyelashes. Feel your sits bones make contact with the surface beneath you. And then with your breath in, see if you can lengthen a little bit with your spine, sitting up nice and tall. Draw the tops of your ears back to align your neck with the rest of the spine. And then maybe you just slightly draw the shoulders back, maybe just the most subtle engagement of the shoulder blades hugging in towards your spine to keep this openness and broadening across your chest. And then taking a deep breath in through your nose. Feel your belly expand. Exhale, releasing out through your mouth. Take another deep breath in, just like that. Belly expands front to back, side to side. And then exhale, feel that subtle contraction of your navel pulling in towards your spine. One more breath in through the nose. See if you can take even a deeper sip of breath this time. Open your mouth wide. Exhale, sighing it out. And then sealing your lips, feeling the breath move in and out through your nose. Taking just these next few moments to scan your body, looking for any areas of tension. Where does it feel tight? Is there a place where your breath feels restricted? Just noticing what's there. Sending your breath anywhere it's needed. Maybe to soften some tension, to create some space. And take one more breath. Exhaling. And then if you want, you can just listen to my voice or start to slowly open your eyes. Doesn't have to happen fast. It can be nice and slow. On your inhale, take your arms, sweep them overhead, looking up through your fingertips. And then go ahead and take your right hand to the mat. Take your left arm overhead. Take a breath in. Feel your shoulder drop back into the socket. And then as you inhale, keep your right hand down. Take your left fingertips, just tap the mat, and then come back into your side bend. Inhale to tap the mat. Exhale to bend. One more. Inhale, tap the mat. Exhale, coming into your side bend. And then lifting up just enough to twist to the right. So left hand can come to the right thigh, and then your right hand can come behind you to your low back or just off to the side. We're kind of keeping this more of a relaxed, passive yin-like twist. So we don't need to pull or deepen, lengthen, all of that. Just keeping it nice and loose. Take a breath in. Let it go. And then take your right arm up alongside your ear, side bending over to the left. Reaching, reaching, reaching. And then that right arm is going to circle in front of you, bringing it to the left leg. So your arms are now crossed. Start to round through your spine. Tuck your chin towards your chest. Feel the back of your neck lengthen. Scoop in your belly, hollowing it out. And then keeping those arms crossed, start to lift them up. You'll come into eagle arms. So if you're not familiar, you're just going to bring the palms together. If that is not an option, you can bring the backs of the hands together or just hold on to opposite shoulders. Start to lift your elbows up in front of you. So about shoulder height, lifting it away to keep that space across the upper back. Feel your low belly pull in, just a very slight pulling in, supporting the low back. Take another breath. And then release. Circle the arms behind you. Place your hands behind you so that the heels of your hands press into the mat. And then you can lift up, opening your chest. Let your shoulders roll back. And you can let your head dip back as far as you like. Maybe you just focus your gaze on the ceiling. Feel the broadening across your chest. And then release. Go ahead and take a roll of your shoulders. Inhale, sweep your arms up. On your exhale, left hand comes down, right arm reaches up and over the left. And then we're going to do that same thing, flowing through. Go ahead and inhale, tap the right fingers down. Exhale, side bend. Couple more times. Tap the fingers down. Exhale to side bend. One more. Exhale to take your side bend. Keep this. And then lifting up just enough to take your twist to the left. Breathing in. Exhaling into this loose twist. And then go ahead and take your left arm, sweep it up alongside your ear, reaching up and over to the right. Just staying here for a brief moment. And circling your arm to your thigh. Keep the arms crossed, round through your spine. Tuck your chin towards your chest. Hollow out your belly. And then inhale, start to lift your arms, coming into your eagle arms. So palms together, backs of the hands, opposite shoulders. Take a breath in, lift the elbows up and away from your chest. Feel space across the upper back. Almost like you can feel the shoulder blades pulling away from your spine, wrapping around your side ribs. Awesome. And then on your exhale, release. Bring your hands behind you. Press the heels into the mat. And get that nice stretch in the spine. Then coming up to your seat, we're going to do a little release of the scalenes, muscles on the side of your neck that tend to get very tight and tense. They're made to move the head in different directions, especially side bending, lateral flexion, side to side. So I'm going to start with what I call a hitchhiker thumb. I'm going to take my thumb to the side of my neck. So if you feel right here at the top of your shoulder for this big chunky muscle, your upper trapezius, which also can get very, very tense and tight, you're going to come right in front of it, but staying behind your collarbone. So right in between the upper traps and your collarbone, you're going to feel kind of this wiry thread-like muscle. Those are your scalenes. So I take my four fingers, I'm wrapping them around the back of my neck. And then I've got my thumb here on the side. So we can start on the left side or right, wherever you're at, doesn't matter. I'll mirror you for this one. So I am taking my thumb, I'm going to press it in, find a little spot, maybe a little tender spot, something that feels like a speed bump. And then I'm just going to lean my head away. I'll find another spot on the side of my neck and lean my head away. So this can go quite quickly. You can find a spot, lean away, relax it, find a new spot, Lean away. Just working up the side of the neck. So right in front of this corner where the neck meets the shoulder, all the way up the side, not the front, not the back. Just a couple more times. This is also an accessory breathing muscle. So it's really important, especially for activity, if you're running upstairs, if you're running in general, working out, anything like that. Anytime the diaphragm needs a little bit of assistance, our accessory muscles kick in. So let's go ahead and release that. Shrug your shoulders up to your ears and then let them drop. Do that 2 more times. And just notice how the side you just worked on feels compared to the other side of the neck. If there's more space, does it feel a little bit more open, a little bit freer? And then we'll move to the other side. So again, finding that chunky upper trap muscle, staying behind the clavicles, right in between. Find those little thread like wiry muscles and then find a good spot and lean away. So they are accessory muscles. They help to elevate, to lift the first 2 ribs when you need to take a deeper breath, maybe create a little bit more volume inside the rib cage. And they're also kind of referred to as the psoas of the neck in that sense. So just finding a spot, you can go back, revisit some of the spots, breathing in and out, keeping a very nice, steady rhythm with your breath. And take about maybe 1 or 2 more. Awesome. And then shrug, release, shrug, release. Couple more and release. Let's turn around and find a tabletop. So we will be going into some lunges. I would recommend setting blocks right here on either side of your mat. Right at the top. If your knees get tender, you might want to take that blanket or a towel and place it across the mat to support your knees. Find a nice tabletop position, fingers spread wide, and wrists underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips, subtly pulling your belly in. Not a very aggressive engagement at all, just enough to keep your low back supported. Looking down on the mat in front of you, take a breath in, and then exhale. On your inhale, drop your belly, lift your tailbone up, roll your shoulders back, and lift your gaze up towards the ceiling. And then as you exhale, press the mat away to round through your spine, hollowing out your belly, tucking your chin towards your chest. Keep the back of your neck nice and long. And then inhale, sink the spine, lifting your gaze. Exhale, rounding through the spine, scooping the tailbone under. Now, flowing with your own breath. Exhale as you round through your spine. Inhale as you let your belly drop towards the mat. Go ahead and take one more full round after this one. Inhaling to lift your gaze. Exhaling to round through your spine. Come back to your neutral spine. On your next inhale, sweep your right arm up towards the ceiling. Maybe your gaze follows. And then as you exhale, you're going to take your right arm, thread it behind the left, coming onto your right shoulder, right cheek. Maybe your left arm walks up towards the top of your mat. It can stay exactly where it was at, or you can take a half bind, wrap it around, maybe catch your right thigh. Take a breath in. Let it go. Now let's just go ahead and breathe into this for a little bit longer, maybe a moment or two. A nice twist, moving the spine in all directions. It's especially nice if it's been locked in one position all day. And then with your next breath in, bring your left hand back to the mat. Press it down into the mat, lifting up, reaching the right arm, of course, back up towards the ceiling. And then set the right hand down next to the left. Take a quick cat-cow, just a round. And then find your neutral spine again. Inhale, sweep the left arm up. Thread the left arm behind the right, landing on the left shoulder, left cheek. Right hand can stay exactly where it's at. Maybe you walk your fingers up towards the top of the mat. Maybe you take your half bind. Maybe you close your eyes for this if it feels really cozy. Unwinding all the stress of the day. Taking a few breaths in. Notice where the breath lands. In the sides of the ribs, in the low back, one corner. And feeling it in your belly. And then when you're ready, bringing your right hand back to the mat, pressing down to lift up. Left arm reaches towards the ceiling. And then go ahead and take it back down to the mat. Inhale to lift your gaze. Exhale to round through your spine. And then inhale, lifting your gaze again. Let your belly tip down. Exhale, round through your spine. Walk your hands just about a handprint forward. Tuck your toes. Lift your knees to hover. We're going to move into downward facing dog, but we're going to take our time. Spread your fingers wide. Press down into the pinky finger and the thumb to really activate the arms all the way up to the inner corner of the armpit and the back corner of the armpit. And then start to press the mat away. Even amount of pressure into the hands to straighten your spine, sending your hips towards the back of the mat. Then when you're ready, you can start to straighten your legs. Maybe a little bit, maybe a lot. Maybe you keep your knees bent the whole time. You decide. And then go ahead and lift up onto your tippy toes, drop your heels down just a couple of times to get some movement. Maybe even moving with your breath. And if you'd like to walk it out, just unwinding from your day. Or maybe it's just halfway through your day. Shift your hips side to side. Take another breath in. And then inhale, come forward into a plank. So for this first plank, I'm going to drop my knees to the mat. You can stay in a high plank if you'd like. And pressing your hands evenly down into the mat. Shift your sternum forward, almost like it's a flashlight shining towards the front of your mat. And then start to bend your elbows. Feel your elbows glide against the side ribs as you lower all the way down. Untuck your toes, point them away, pressing the tops of the feet down into the mat. Your forehead lands on the mat. Take a breath in and start to lift from the back of the ribs, curling up into a cobra. Nice little counter for rounding the spine. And then as you exhale, very slowly lower all the way down to the mat. Take your time, build some strength in the arms. Let's do that 2 more times. Inhale, curl up into cobra. Exhale to release. Inhale one more time, curl up into cobra. Exhale, release all the way to your belly. Press up and back into a child's pose. Let the big toes touch, the heels fall open, and you can even drag your hands back, coming into these cactus arms, giving you a nice passive chest opener. Take a breath in. Exhale to let it go. And then inhale, straighten your arms, lifting up and back into your downward facing dog. Take a breath in. Start to tiptoe your feet all the way to meet your hands at the top of your mat. Dangle here for a moment. Keep a slight bend in your knees, helping to protect the back of your legs. And then on your inhale, come to a half lift. Bring your hands to your shins. Let your shoulders roll back, keeping a nice flat spine, hugging the low belly in towards the spine. Exhale to fold forward. Inhale, rise, circle your arms out nice and wide, and then bringing the fingers to touch, looking up towards the ceiling. Go ahead and interlace your hands. Flip your palms up towards the ceiling. Let your shoulders hug back into the sockets. Plant your feet down, tailbone tilting down towards the mat. Start to bend from your mid back. Nice little back bend here. And then on your inhale, you're going to come up, forward, rounding through your spine. Tuck your
Chin towards your chest. Bend your knees slightly. Hug your low belly in. Feel that space across your upper back. And then as you inhale, standing up, circle your arms behind you. This is where you might want to strap. If you can, clasp your hands behind your low back. Start to straighten your arms, reach them away. Feel that openness across your chest. Take a breath in. And then as you exhale, bend through your knees, hinge from your hips, round forward. Now, try not to let your shoulders sink toward your ears. Hug them back. That's going to take a little bit of engagement. Shoulder blades hugging together against your spine. Take a breath in. Release your hands on your exhale. Bring them to the mat. Inhale to your half lift. Exhale to fold. Plant your hands. Step your right foot back. So here's where you will want your blocks. Go ahead and drop your knee to the mat. You can put a blanket or some sort of cushion underneath your knee if you like. Toes can stay tucked or untucked. You decide. Just for a moment, we will get them, or we will go back to tucked toes in just a second. So both hands are on a block. You can decide whether you want low height, medium height, or high height. Actually, I might take high height for this one. So I'm going to start with this low lunge. As I come forward, I'm going to lift my gaze and let my shoulders roll back. And then as I exhale, I'm going to press my hands into the blocks to shift my hips back and kind of folding over my straight leg. Inhale, coming forward. Exhale, straighten your front leg and round. Inhale, shifting into your lunge. Exhale to round. Now, if you'd like that, you can inhale to come forward. On your exhale, you can tuck your toes and straighten your front leg, coming into more of a pyramid pose. Inhale to lunge it forward. Exhale, shift your hips back. So either variation. Inhale to lunge. Exhale, shift your hips back. Let's do 2 more here. And shift your hips back. And coming forward, you can drop your knee if you like. We're going to come into a nice side twist. I'm going to drop my blocks down to the low height. You can adjust. You can tuck your toes and lift your knee if you'd like, or keep your knee down. Inhale, left arm reaches up towards the ceiling, coming into a nice lunge twist. You can stay here or start to drag your top arm back, spinning your chest up towards the ceiling, feeling a little bit more openness. Take a breath in. And then exhale, bring your left hand to the block. Go ahead and pivot on to your right foot, and your right arm lifts up. You can drag it back as well if you'd like. And then circle your right arm down. Both hands are on the block. Go ahead and take your block slightly out of the way. Step back into downward facing dog. Inhale, coming forward into your plank. Exhale to lower all the way down. Inhale, curl up into cobra. Exhale to release. Inhale, pressing up and back into downward facing dog. Take a breath in and let it go. Big step or lots of little steps to the top of your mat, forward fold. Inhale to your half lift. Exhale to fold. Inhale to rise all the way to stand. Interlace your hands, flip your palms towards the ceiling. Take a nice little back bend here. And then rounding forward, press the palms away. Feel that space across the upper back. And then inhale, reach the arms up, circle them behind you, clasp your hands to your low back, straighten your arms, reach them away. Take a breath in. Exhale, bend your knees, let your chest waterfall over your thighs. Crown of your head hanging heavy, shoulders rolling it back into the sockets. Take a breath in. Release your hands to the mat. Inhale to your half lift. Exhale to fold. Step the left foot back. Drop your back knee to the mat. Grab your blocks. Put them to the height that you'd like. Take a breath in to lunge forward. And then exhale to send your hips back, straightening your front leg. Inhale, coming forward. Find a nice back bend, shoulders roll back. Exhale to round forward. Inhale, lunging. Exhale to round. Now, if you'd like that, inhale, coming forward. If you want, exhale to lift the back knee off the mat, straighten the leg, finding more of a pyramid. Inhale, low lunge. Exhale, shift the hips back, fold. Inhale, coming into your low lunge, nice back bend. Exhaling to round your spine over your straight front leg. Couple more here. Inhale to lunge. Exhale to round. And one more round. Exhale to fold. And then coming back to your lunge, adjust your blocks if you'd like to a different height. Your left hand's going to come down. You can lift your knee if you'd like. And then inhale to sweep your right arm up towards the sky or the ceiling. Press your left hand down, really pressing it, driving it into that block so that your shoulder stays locked in there. Take a breath in. Release. Right hand comes to the block. Pivot onto the back foot and then open that twist. Big breath in. Complete exhalation out. Then circle the left hand back to your mat. If you need to, drop your knees, set your blocks away. Press your hands down, step back to downward facing dog. Inhale, coming forward into your plank. Exhale with the knees down or in high plank. Think about shifting the sternum forward, lower all the way down to the mat. Untuck your toes, point them away, press the tops of the feet down, curl up into cobra, and then release. Go ahead and walk your hand or your arms forward in front of you. We're going to come into a Sphinx pose. So this is a really nice way to counter a long day. We'll stay here for about 2 minutes, maybe slightly more. You can play with the position of your feet. Maybe bring them a little bit wider or a little bit closer. You might notice the closer your legs are, that you can feel some compression in the low back. And that might work for some people, but not for everybody. So kind of playing with that perfect distance of your legs. If you have a block or something handy, you can rest your forehead onto that prop. And the props are really helpful because they allow our bones and our joints to feel supported so that we can really focus on relaxing the muscles. And we carry a lot of tension in the neck, especially a lot of stress. And a lot of times we're really engaging more superficial muscles and not so much the deep muscles, overworking, causing these chronic tension patterns. So it's really important to kind of retrain the body how to relax, how to turn off muscles that aren't needed. Now, if you like this and you'd like to go a little bit further, you can, or get a little more sensation, I should say, press your hands down into the mat, straighten your arms, coming into a seal pose. This is going to give you definitely a more intense compression in the back. So if you feel any pain or discomfort, then I would go back to Sphinx or maybe even rest on your belly. And without actively engaging the shoulders, just allow them to kind of fall away from the ears, giving that space. We're not constantly elevating the shoulder blades or gripping, clenching any muscles that are not needed to support the pose we're in. And that goes for supporting posture or any other positions you take throughout the day.
I'm gonna take another breath in and then slowly release onto your mat. Rest on your belly just for a moment. Letting your low back adjust to this gentle stress. And then we're going to move into a little myofascial release. So, this is where you'll like to have the two myofascial balls that I mentioned and perhaps a block. So, we're going to start with the upper trapezius muscles, those chunky muscles we grabbed onto at the beginning. I'm going to take these blocks or balls. When I lay down, they're going to be right here at the top of, peeking out the top of my shoulders, right where the upper traps are. So think maybe halfway between the corner of the neck and the shoulder. When I lay down and position them, you if I put my fingers right at the top of my shoulders, I should feel them peeking out. Now, if you want a little bit more sensation, you can lift your hips, placing your sacrum on a block. This is totally up to you. And then positioning the balls exactly where you want them. You might move them in a little bit closer to the corner of the neck, making adjustments to that perfect spot. And then just take a moment here. Let your arms come out wide, palms facing up towards the ceiling. Breathing in, feeling those balls sinking into the tissues like quicksand. And then after you've taken a couple of breaths, you might move your shoulders a little side to side. Maybe press your feet down and shift your weight forward and back. Or add your arms for a little action called shearing, where we're pinning down the tissue and then we're getting those layers of tissues to glide across each other. So I love either starting with my hands or my arms by my sides and then lifting them up towards the ceiling and then bringing them overhead and just taking that movement a couple of times. Moving with your breath, maybe you inhale as you take your arms overhead. Exhale as you bring them back down by your side. One more. Take a breath in. Exhale, bringing the arms down by your sides. And the beautiful thing is you don't have to spend a whole lot of time, like 30 to 60 seconds, maybe just a little bit longer if you're feeling extra tension. So I'm going to take this block away and we're going to end with a neck block. So I'm setting the balls aside. I don't need them anymore. I'm going to take my block at the medium height where this edge of the block is going to rest right at the base of my skull, where my skull meets my neck. The block is not on my neck at all. Now, if you don't happen to have a block with you, maybe you take a blanket and just roll it enough to put it underneath and fill the space behind your neck and breathe with us. So I'm right here. The block is resting right on the suboccipitals. These muscles in the back of the neck, they're postural muscles and they get very fixed. They're fixed gaze muscles, which means they get locked with reading too much, being on devices or computers. So it's nice to really release any tension you have. If you experience tension headaches, this is a great way to release, just tractioning the back of the neck, this spot. Feeling the neck hammock off of the block. Just taking a couple of breaths. You should be able to breathe very smooth and relaxed. Maybe your eyes are closed or your gaze is just very, very soft. And then you can stay here laying, or you can take a little movement. So maybe you start by nodding your head up and down, nodding yes. And then after you nod yes a couple of times, you can take it a little side to side, nodding no. And then go ahead and take your head all the way over to the right, as far as you can take it. Pause there. And then either make some little circles, nod yes, nod no, just finding a little bit of movement. And then we'll take our head halfway back to center. So it's almost like it falls into this hollow, this kind of divot, if you will, or your Frankenstein hollow, I like to call it. And then again, just breathe. Maybe find a little bit of movement. And then we're going to go one more halfway back. So now you're kind of on this plumpier, chunkier type tissue. Let the block sink in. And then if you'd like, add movement. Maybe a few little circles or up and down, even side to side. Just a very small movement. Imagine if somebody was looking at you, they could probably barely tell that you were even moving at all. And then we'll go back to center and take your head all the way over to the left or the opposite of the direction you were before. Let the block sink in. Then find a little bit of movement. Nod yes, maybe no. Circle it out. And then we'll go halfway back to center, falling right into that Frankenstein hollow. Breathe in, breathe out. Nod yes, nod no. Circle it out. And then one more time, halfway back to center. So now we're on that plumpier muscle. After you breathe, find some movement. Think about unlocking all of that fixed tissue that might feel stuck. Go ahead and move back to center. Take a few little circles. Imagine you're drawing those circles on the ceiling with your nose. Maybe a little figure 8 even. And then take the block away. Set it off to the side. Take a few moments here for Shavasana. I love to take a nice blanket, rolling it just underneath to feel that space behind my head. Letting your legs come along. If you have a pillow or something to put under the knees to lift to support the low back, go ahead and add any props, anything you can to be as comfortable and relaxed as possible. Just taking a few breaths in. I'll leave you in your Shavasana. I invite you to stay as long as you'd like, finding all the rest you need. Letting your breath be soft. Your body at ease. Mind calm. Thank you for sharing your practice with me. Have a beautiful day.